Welcome back, Panther fans. I'm David Brown, along with Ryan Graham.
Hey, y'all.
Tim Thurber.
Hello.
And this is State of Atlanta.
What is that? What did you just do?
The audio is off or something. Oh, you unscrewed a can. Gotcha.
I'm still digging through these holiday editions.
I am such a alcoholic that I try to maximize or minimize my cost per alcoholic volume. So whenever I go to the store to get my Miller Lite and the high quality alcohol, I always look, and those tall cans are always the best value for the ounce or price for the ounce, but it does not fit in my beer fridge very well. So I have to pay extra for the 30 pack that I go through a couple times a week.
Yeah,
you get 30.
I do the 30 packs, and I think I told you guys one week I brought it up to the liquor store counter, and they rang it up, and the guy looked at me and he goes, "Dude, that's less than $1 a beer." I'm like, I know.
I thought you were going to say they recognize you picking up your 30 pack of PBR. Like, oh, this is the 30 pack guy. He's here every other day.
I'm like 2.5 a week. So
the liquor store by me, they require you to show your driver's license with your credit card to make sure the name matches the card. I guess there's a lot of crime where I live or something. And so I just pull out my ID and my card and I just kind of hand them, I hold both of them together and hold it up to the window. And the woman goes, "I know you." I'm like,
that's when you know you're in.
Which is one thing, because obviously I have a very attractive face that anybody would recognize me. But nowadays you're wearing a mask, and I typically have sunglasses on my head or something like that or whatever. It's like, no, even covered up. She's like, "I know who you are."
David, you're always covered up with your bushy beard. I don't even know what you look like.
Yeah, when I shave, I put it this way: if I shave, I'm 43 years old. If I shave my beard, I could probably get a prom date, and no one would ask any questions about it. I look 30 years younger when I'm fully shaved. So. Anyhow, with that being the case, hope you guys had a good Christmas.
Yeah, it was awesome.
We all got a good gift in Christmas with a win in the LendingTree Bowl. I always want to say the LendingTree.com Bowl. I think it's because it's one of those bowls that sounds so meaningless, or just with the poor sponsor. That LendingTree.com, it just sounds like it should have a .com on it.
Does it not? Now that you're saying it,
I don't think it does. I think it's just LendingTree Bowl, but no space. They can't afford to put a space in there.
Right.
But so that's a good game. That was a hell of a game. That was
heck yeah.
That was a beatdown.
It's a dominant game. What are you talking about?
But so it was a dominant game in the fashion of Georgia State 2020, because we get the ball, opening drive. What do? Turn the ball over. And it wasn't on that interception in the end zone, but the ensuing drive did lead to a touchdown, which is the fourth time we've turned the ball over on the opening drive, and they've scored points this season, which I think actually we've won all 4 of those games when that's happened.
That's my little brother. I was watching it with my little brother, and he was like, "See, this is why students don't go to the games." And I'm like, "You just wait, all right? You just wait." Because actually, I have gotten a little bit of confidence that we just start a little slow, and the game is a long game, and we might be able to come back. The team has made me feel pretty good. So
that's actually the first question I had written down. So since you already answered it, Ryan, I'll go to Tim.
Sorry.
When we turned the ball over the ends of the interception, that did not bother me. I'm like, oh, that sucks. But now they have a long field to come back on. Let's see what this defense that we've been touting about the last few games can really do. And they end up marching down the field and getting a touchdown. That's when I started feeling a little nervous about the game there in the first quarter. Tim, where were you when that happened?
Going into the game,
where were you? But where was your mindset?
Well, I was at my house, David.
Going into the game, I wasn't nervous from our previous podcast at all. I think Ryan was the nervous one for some reason. I don't know why. I almost took Ryan's bait.
He was nervous because he's been a Georgia State fan the entire time. He knows that you can never go confident into a game.
I was overly confident the last 2 weeks. I don't know why. But
I didn't know anything about Western Kentucky and how bad their offense was, though. I mean, their quarterback was terrible.
Yeah.
Well, see, not knowing anything about their quarterback, Ryan, he looks terrible, but those are the first 2 interceptions he threw. All season. The entire season.
I saw the first one. They flashed that info at the bottom, but I still, even his first 5 bombs, long balls, were off by, 5 or 6 yards. I mean, it was crazy how inaccurate he was. And I'm like, how is this guy not getting picked off left and right? He can't, like, what is this?
I do want to state, though, that Ryan, if you were actually listening to the podcast you were on last week, we would have noted that he had not thrown an interception this entire season for some odd stat. Like any quarterback that's thrown over 81 passes, he's the only one that had not thrown an interception. So,
and how do you say his last name? I kept saying Pigrom.
I think that's what. Right? I don't think it's R-O. I think it's Pigrom.
Pigrom. All right. Yeah. That's a name.
So you weren't too that didn't really knock your confidence down when they scored on that opening turnover?
When we threw the pick, I was like, okay, I've seen this before. Fine. When we scored going, I guess, towards the end of the first quarter, I felt a lot better. If we didn't score there, they stopped us, or we threw another pick or turned it over, I would have started having a little bit more concern. But once we scored, I felt a lot better about things going into the second quarter overall.
Well, and once we got to the second quarter, our defense had already made a couple of stands at that point. Our offense was sort of looking decent. They were warming up, knocking some rust off, and I felt pretty good throughout.
That was it. Second quarter.
Well, 27 unanswered points. Go into the second half, and I was feeling pretty good. But I was feeling pretty good about it. I liked where we were going, but again, being an Atlanta fan, you can never be too certain. So I did tweet out, you can calm down, everybody. This is an Atlanta team. The game is far from over, which is funny now, but had the game gone the other way, maybe not that funny of a tweet, but maybe not that funny of a tweet, period. But did you ever get nervous at the game? Was it confidence stayed high throughout the entire?
Pretty much.
Well, once we got past the half, I felt good.
Yeah. Well, what I liked about the game is because we've been kind of talking about this all season is, we have, Quad and you got McKelly, and we're like, all right, we want to see a game where we're playing so well that you got to put McKelly in to get some actual valuable snaps and whatever. And they're in I think 11 minutes to go in the fourth quarter or something like that. They put him in there, and it's the typical backup quarterback comes in play, hand the ball off thing.
Right.
And then the very next play was a 25-yard touchdown in the corner of the end zone. And
I didn't even realize it was him. And then I was like, wait, that's not a black dude.
No, it was great though. And so I think it's safe to say now, Ryan, there is a quarterback controversy in Somerville right now.
Oh God.
Right?
Brewing.
No, there isn't. Come on.
I agree, but it was good to see that when McKelly came in that he was able to perform. And then, like every coach says, I'm sure Coach Elliott says, it'll be a battle for who can do the best job in practice. So, McKelly will be there pushing Quad the entire offseason leading into next year. So that's good. Good competition. I like it. It was cool seeing him do that.
I can tell you, I've talked a lot of shit about Quad this season, I think, and I'm excited to see how he progresses because I think he can only get better, and he will. He's going to be phenomenal before it's all said and done. Yeah,
I think the same. Tim, you think that we are finally seeing what's going to be our first 4-year quarterback?
I hope so. That'd be amazing if we get a 4-year quarterback.
I feel bad for McKelly or anybody else that's potentially looking at coming to the program, but we'll see. I would much rather have a guy come in and to see what Quad did throughout the season, looking rusty at times, looking freshman at times, but that was awesome. That was great.
And overall, I have to give props to Fuqua.
Yeah.
I think if you go back and look at it at the season, you just our defense was good. Period. Yeah. We had a good defense this season. There were
minus 2 games, right? That's it.
Yeah, it's like 2 games where it we didn't do well, but everything else, those are the outliers. The regular game is our defense was awesome. So
our defense held one of the worst offensive teams in the nation to 3 touchdowns. That's an accomplishment. We held them to 21 points. That's an accomplishment.
Well,
almost garbage time too, right?
So the first touchdown, count it. Second touchdown, maybe count it. The third one, don't count it. It's garbage.
Yeah, I think the second one they were getting a little aggressive with just doing something they had to do and everything. But the third one was definitely garbage. But I would much rather have seen a 39 to 14
0
or 0. But realistically, actually the thing that actually messes with me the most about this game, so 39 points, that looks great. but it could have been 41. And you score in the 40s instantly. As soon as you're in the 40s, the number looks so much better. But for some reason, special teams, what was it? Ruiz just missed a point after, just flat out missed it. And then
the very last one.
Yeah.
Was that the last one? I thought the last one was the just botched snap where it went flying past the placeholder.
Oh, I don't know if I saw that.
I
was pretty toasted by the end of that game.
Touchdown. But yeah, that's a bummer. But oh well, I guess
he did make 8 straight field goals. Gotta give him that. Going into
I was like 2.5 bottles of wine in by the end of the game. So.
Oh, there you go. Well, we got Julian here. It's weird how our pass rush is one of the better in the country, and Hedrick Willis only made third team Sunbelt. Yeah, I agree. There was another guy that's like first in the nation for sacks or something like that on the team. Not sacks, but first in the nation in some stat. He made third team. I don't think it was Hedrick Willis.
Well, the one that stood out to me too is Sam Pinckney at second team. Like what is there must be some awesome receivers in the Sun Belt for Sam Pinckney, who's like automatic. I mean,
speaking of God Hands McPinckney, that guy was ridiculous in the game. There was, I think, 1 or 2 different receptions of his that got featured on You've Got Mossed this week.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Really, too. Yeah.
He was ridiculous. And then even on top of that, our defense, the 2 interceptions, I think one was pretty much just a throw him straight to us, but the second one, or the first one actually, it's a great interception.
Yeah, I felt like we could have had 2 more in that game. There were like dropped like picks that were so just in our hands. We just didn't get it. I mean,
it's okay. It's not their job to catch balls. It's all good.
Not.
If it was, they'd be on offense, right?
That's right.
It's like these are the guys that can get their hands on the ball. They can't actually catch it, so we'll put them out there just to get their hand on the ball. Yeah. There was actually some interesting things looking on the internet about the game. Is there were a lot of people that were giving props to the uniforms, just non-Georgia State fans that were.
They love those helmets, huh?
And the helmets too. That's what killed me, was actually that helmet sticker getting the props.
And it was the white helmets too, wasn't it?
It was.
God.
With David's favorite helmet.
I've said it multiple times. If we win with that helmet on, I can't complain about it. But I also lie all the time. So.
That might be our helmet now.
Matte Panther Blue, best one.
With the pink head on both sides.
Oh, yeah. That's the best one.
Yeah. I actually like the idea of doing kind of like how Bama and some other school puts the number on the side, but instead of like the player's number, I want it to be like all the Georgia area codes, like 404, 706, 678, like all those, just kind of showing
470.
470. Yep.
That's the new one. That's the newness.
Right.
We need to own that 470.
Although we should probably wait on doing that until we're actually recruiting players from the state of Georgia.
Yeah. What are some area codes in South Carolina? Can we throw some of those up there?
South Carolina has more than one area code. The state is so small. There's only like 4 people that live there, and we're actively recruiting 3 of them at the moment. So, yeah. So that was good. Just see some like non-Georgia State fans actually giving props to things like, uniforms on top of the performance of the team in the game. Yeah,
we looked good on ESPN. You know what I mean? Like we played a great game on both sides of the ball on ESPN, and then the next day on the replay on ESPNU. I mean, like that's big for us.
Yeah, our history's not been good playing games on ESPN. We've always been the laughing stock, so it was good. Yeah, I agree. To be able to be out there. And I was excited that, there was no other football game going on, but there was no college football game going on. I didn't realize the NFL was playing games on Saturday.
Were they?
Yeah, apparently. Oh. So when I set up my fantasy team, I did not realize that, but yeah, that was the case. So
this was our first bowl game on ESPN, right? We've always been on the CBS Sports Network, which no one gets.
Right. Yeah. Well, we were on something weird last year for the Wyoming game. I just remember like we were at the bar setting up and everything. I'm like, all right, you guys said you get this channel. And they're like, yeah, we're trying to find it. I'm like, I don't know. I don't remember what the first game was because I was actually there, so I didn't watch it. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, we're on ESPN proper. This was ESPN Prime. This was not 2 or U or Ocho or any of that kind of stuff. So that's good.
Yeah.
And a replay the next day in like prime time hours too. It wasn't like weird. It was like, no, we're going to watch this on ESPNU again. All right.
Yeah. A couple of things I saw online were just some other cool quotes about non-Georgia State fans talking about the program. Was Georgia State's a team on the rise, really interesting program at the moment. There was some guy that commented that he's like, I may have to wear my Georgia State jacket to work on Monday or whatever it was. But he had a flare of Georgia Southern. This is on Reddit. And I'm like, these two things aren't matching up. And he said, actually, he went to school at Georgia Southern, but now works at State. So Georgia State, we know you guys are listening to this. Fire that guy.
What's his handle? I mean,
Wow.
what are they going to have to go on, you know?
I did actually comment back to him. I said, if I knew who you were, I would actively ask the campaign for the university.
You wanted to do that GoFundMe for the flag, but really we should do a change.org petition to fire that guy.
Yeah, but I bet, I don't know what this guy does. I bet his salary could definitely pay for flags. So,
two birds, one stone.
One stone. Done.
one eagle, one flag, one stone. Hell no.
I will say the announcers were giving us props too during the broadcast about how good we looked as a team and how we're building. And
I did not hear them call us the Eagles once.
They didn't.
It's a little
What an
thing.
accomplishment that's when you
Little things.
That's when you know that Georgia State's taken that next step as a program is when you don't get confused with another school.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
There was a West Virginia fan on Reddit that said flat out the Big 12 should take a look at Georgia State, that they match the profile of what Big 12 is. And obviously that there's a lot of stupid fans in college football, of which I'm looking at 3 of them right now. But, but that's the kind of stuff.
Are you like in a different tab or something?
I can't argue with that guy. I mean,
I can't, exactly. That's how stupid a statement was. I have no argument with it whatsoever.
I agree with him.
I think
we should be in the Big 12.
It would be rude and assholes.
Write a letter.
It'd be rude and assholes to disagree with them. So I don't want to do that.
Makes sense. You know, Ben always said when we talked about moving to the Big East or what became the American, you know, there for the first several years of us joining the Sun Belt, it's like no team goes from Sun Belt to Big East. No team goes from, Sun Belt. You got to go through Conference USA first. Well, we've already established the Conference USA is not a stepping stone for us any longer. So no team goes to Big 12 without going to American first.
Well, I think instead of going, they said going through COSA, and I don't think they realized that it just meant all the Sun Belt schools constantly beat COSA teams. We just went through them.
Yeah, plowed right through them. Yeah. Speaking of which, Conference USA went 0-4, 0-5, whatever. They went
0-5 against us.
0 in all of their bowl games. They lost all their bowl games, even the ones that weren't against us.
Yeah.
Aren't we glad we didn't end up there instead of the Sun Belt right now? I mean, that's a dumpster fire, basically.
Everything being constant, absolutely. But had we gone there, who knows what the Conference USA would have looked like? We went there because they picked Western Kentucky and whatever, all the Florida.
Florida schools, FAU, FIU.
Who knows what it would look like? But either way, Conference USA seemed to be on a path for self-inflicted disaster. So as much as I hate Sun Belt, it makes sense that we're in the right place for us right now, I guess.
Yep,
Ugh,
definitely.
Drink to that. That feels sick in my stomach.
You didn't want to say that, did you?
No, and I hate that I said it now. Anyhow, one random question I had since I brought up Ben. No disrespect to him whatsoever at all. He does this. A lot of people do this. A lot of people that have kind of media accounts or whatever, they do play-by-plays of the game on Twitter.
No, I think that's pretty weird too.
Like quad rushes up the middle for a 5-yard gain, whatever it is. I'm like, are there people that are actually like unable to watch or listen to follow along to a game? They're are following on some Twitter handle of like what happens in the game. And there's a lot of times there's no context. It's just a statement. If you go back through their Twitter feed, like, a week later, you're like, what the hell was he talking about?
You have to actually be watching it to understand it.
So exactly. Yeah. I mean, do you just have like your TV pulled up with like a Twitter feed going on right next to it? I guess there's people that do that. But even then, it's not like giving an opinion on what happened. It's like, this play just happened. Not like, holy shit, did you see this? The best catch I've ever seen since blah, 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 blah.
It's like one of my friends, he's a Florida fan, and he'll just post, "That was garbage," and I'll reply back, "What was garbage?" I have no clue what he's talking about. It's the game, but
Florida, he probably just saw some garbage.
It's true. I can't argue with that.
His neighbor was out watering the garden or something.
Or a Florida co-ed.
That was garbage.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that. So State of Atlanta, Twitter, don't do it.
No, I did.
Whoever you are.
I commented on a couple of plays here and there, I think, but nothing was like just narrating what happened.
You didn't just put what? Question mark?
Exactly. A bunch of fire emojis when something happens.
Yeah.
All right. That was a great game. Beat Western Kentucky, twice in 2 bowls. Coach Elliott's 2-1 in bowls.
So is it a rivalry now?
Were you their daddy?
I mean, it's not a rivalry.
They won 1
regular season.
Yeah, that's fine. They won 1. We won 2.
No, I guarantee you, I don't think that you'll see us getting Western Kentucky on our out of conference schedule anytime soon.
Yeah. All right. You
Next
just
year
wait
for the
and see.
bowl.
I think the football gods want it. You won't see them on our regular season schedule, but it's going to happen. We're going to get bowls with them every year.
That would that is very likely to happen. We end up with them.
That sounds terrible, guys.
Horrible. I'll take the easy W every year, but
oh shit. That was that's some rivalry talk right there.
Okay, sure. So you guys have anything else about this game? It was great. It was awesome. It checked all the boxes. We have our best winning percentage as a football team, which isn't a great winning percentage. We have our best in program history. This was a positive in a year.
Back-to-back winning seasons.
What's that?
Back-to-back winning seasons. That's huge.
First back-to-back winning seasons. First back-to-back bowl
ever.
Yeah.
That record so easily could have been so much better too. I mean, it is like literally 3 plays away from being a better record. I mean,
yeah. What did I
from being like 3 more wins?
I think I did the math last week. It was like 8 or 9 points that separated us having 3 more wins.
Yeah,
on the season. Yeah, it could have been a season so much better. That being said, this season with everything going on could have gone completely differently. We only lost 1 game due to the COVID crap. As far as getting canceled, it could have been way worse. But
yeah,
I think we got to chalk this up as one of the few bright spots of this 2020 year.
Well, and if you remember the loss that we had against Arkansas State, where our defense did very poorly was when Fuquay was out for COVID concerns, along with a couple of other key players. So like that one actually COVID probably got us.
Well, asterisk that one.
Right. Speaking of asterisks, the Sun Belt played in a few other bowl games.
We did?
The Sun Belt did. I think when we talked last time, the App State game had already happened. So nothing to say about that. I don't have much to say about any of them. Southern won their game. Yay for them.
They played LA Tech. Is that right?
They played Louisiana Tech. What is
LA Tech? I like that.
LA Tech. Yeah.
That's what it looks like.
It does look like that. I guess.
I mean, they're both shit cities. So
what a just a horrible combination of things.
Didn't I text you something about that? I think I did, David.
You likely did. You text me a lot.
Yeah.
You guys text behind my back? What?
Oh, don't worry, Ryan. Most of it's about you. So.
Oh, okay, good. You're forgiven.
There's 2 more bowls that happened. Both were kind of fun. I want to talk about the Liberty Bowl. I'm sorry, the Cure Bowl.
The Liberty Bowl?
Liberty Bowl. There is a Liberty Bowl. I want to talk about
There is one. Isn't it canceled?
Probably.
Yeah, there is a Liberty Bowl, though. Yeah.
Well, I know for most of Sunbelt fans, it became the Liberty Bowl, the Cure Bowl, Liberty versus number 12 high on their horse, Coastal Carolina. Yeah, they said
wow.
That's what they should change their mascot to, from the Chanticleer to like the
just high a giant horse. A really tall horse.
So this was not to get into the whole gameplay, everything, but this ended up being a really good game. Like, I think that most Sunbelt fans, based off just the arrogance of what the Coastal fans been putting out there all season long, were kind of rooting against Coastal in this game. It's one of those rare games where you kind of don't root against. Ryan, you have your own personal stuff going on.
Yeah, I was obviously rooting for Coastal. And I watched like the first 4 or 5 plays of that game and was like, oh, well, that's not looking good.
Mm.
But it ended up being a good game because you're excited the entire time because Liberty is up on them, and then Coastal found a way to tie it up, and I'm like, oh my god, they're gonna win this game. And then Lafayette takes it down to the Coastal 1 yard line.
Lafayette.
I did this when we talked about
Liberty.
Liberty took it down to the 1 yard line, and somehow that was a weird game. What were your feelings on that one, Tim?
I mean, Coastal had literally every chance to win, and somehow they screwed it all up. I mean, it just wasn't meant to be. I don't know.
I think I tweeted something to that exact same effect about the game, that they were gifted every opportunity and still managed to lose it. But I think the thing that cracks me up the most about it is, so Coastal loses. We were rooting for Coastal to lose in that game. Majority of Sunbelt fans.
We weren't.
But Ryan, even you can take credence in this here. Coastal actually losing that game probably hurt the Sunbelt more than anything else, because now it looks like how successful they were all season was just a flash in the pan, and it wasn't that good of a team. Like, everyone thought they were this media darling that was this new UCF wannabe, this Boise State team coming out of nowhere. No, you can't even beat a online school from Virginia.
I still think that there's the bigger problem there, and I think that they deserved a lot of the accolades they got, being media darlings and all that. I mean, that's a good team, and I think when the players probably felt shafted going to a lower tier Sunbelt game, like they didn't even go to the top tier Sunbelt game, and so they played Liberty in the Cure Bowl, an independent FBS team who literally can't even get an invite to a conference, and that's why they're independent. They just have bucos of money, and that's it. And Cincinnati, on the other hand, who was ranked 8, right? They were ranked 12 going into that. Cincinnati was ranked 8, I believe. I mean, I might be wrong on that. You can correct me if I'm wrong. It gets to play Georgia, in Atlanta, and I mean, so they're probably pissed off. They got to play Liberty and not a P5 program. And, I could understand the guys just like not getting up for it.
All right,
I mean, that's the wrong move for them, but I can understand it.
That's absolutely the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my entire life. And
I've
known you for years. No, that's stupid. Cincinnati played.
You told me earlier God was just on Liberty's side. That was dumb.
I mean, you have to assume so, right?
No, you don't. God. Oh, boy.
Cincinnati actually played in and won their conference championship game.
They played a conference championship game.
That's fair. No, I'm not saying that they should have gone and played like Georgia, but like they were ranked 12, whether you like that ranking or not. They deserved a better bowl based on the ranking that they had.
Do you not think that possibly these bowl organizers, that's a hard word to say when you've been drinking, these bowl organizers were not looking at a team that had just come off of calling COVID on their championship game and be like, no, we don't want to chance a team that possibly can't play.
Maybe, but that doesn't make it feel better for the players. And I feel like the players probably got into that game and said, God, man, this sucks. I don't want to play very hard.
Well, what happened here was everything was screwed up this year. The conference championship game got pushed back. We already had Sunbelt associated bowls that were happening. I guess they higher end bowls, if you will. And Coastal hadn't played their games yet. They had not finished out their schedule. So these other bowls had to pick up who they were going to take, and Coastal was left out there. Here's your option. You will not get a lower bowl if you lose your championship game. Well, you didn't play it, so you lost the higher end bowl. That's fine. That's what happens. Plus, they were playing a 9-1 team. They were playing a good team that went up against some good opponents and won this year. Didn't Liberty beat Virginia Tech this year?
Were they good? I don't know.
I think they lost to Virginia Tech, barely.
I thought their loss was at NC State, barely.
Or was it NC State? No, it was NC State. You're right.
Regardless, I can't believe I knew that. No, I think,
what are you, like, some kind of Liberty fan?
Well, I have to follow them along just to know how to antagonize you the most.
Texas State, then Liberty, right?
Exactly. Then Georgia State. That's where falls. Yeah.
I quit this podcast.
I think that I understand where you're coming from in your statement, Ryan. But what I'm saying is You've never been to a bowl. Yeah, it's stupid. They have never been to a bowl game ever. You need to play your heart out in that game. You didn't make what you wanted to get out of it, but you better play that game as hard as you possibly can.
I agree with you.
They should come out there and they should have won 53-10.
I agree with you. I think the attitude is wrong, but I do think that the attitude was probably there.
They should have treated Liberty, a religious school, the same way that Alabama is going to treat Notre Dame, a religious school, in the college football playoffs.
I agree with you.
You have no reason to be playing us right now because you're not as good at us. No, Coastal came out there and looked like wimps the entire game, and the game ended the way the game was supposed to end, with them losing.
Yep. No, I mean you're not wrong about that. So
I feel like they probably thought they should just win.
What's that, Tim?
I feel like they should have just thought they should have won. Like, they're the dominant team. Liberty's not that good. Maybe they didn't come in thinking that Liberty was going to give them a fight.
A lot of teams fall into that trap, right? So, like, Tim, you might know, like, when Georgia played UCF some years ago at the Music City Bowl, they fell into that trap. When Georgia played, so Georgia's who I know. When Georgia played Texas a couple of years ago, when they didn't make the national championship, man, they came out flat. They didn't give a shit about that game. It was terrible.
But talking about UCF, look at UCF when they played Auburn. Like, UCF was an undefeated team, and they thought they deserved to be in the college football playoff.
They were playing Auburn, and so they played up.
No, exactly. They did their job. They came out there and they made the NCAA put an asterisk into their record books for something that everyone decided the national champion was going to be the winner of these 3 games.
Yeah,
there is no co-champion in the NCAA college football playoff
except for that year.
They did their job. Coastal,
that's an absurd comparison because Liberty is not comparable to Auburn.
No.
I mean, Auburn was having a great season in their own right, and was a really good football team. And Liberty is Liberty, dude.
What I'm saying is, if you want to have an argument to stand on, win your games.
I agree. No, I agree. And you show up every game no matter what. Do not play down to your opponents. Don't come out flat. Like, come out and win. Come out and win the dang game.
You have abdicated all authority to speak on your behalf when you lose your games. When you lose your game, you know what? You're a loser. That's all you are. And the record books will go down in the 2020 season. The last game
got an L.
You're a loser. Going into 2021, you are a loser. Nothing matters. In the team.
So are you calling Coastal loser?
I'm calling Coastal losers.
Oh. Get him, David.
So Ryan, you brought up that Georgia game.
The who is the her?
Yeah,
you brought up that.
If I was really good at video editing, I would totally cut to that scene.
Man, Ryan, you brought up that Georgia-Texas game. There was not enough beer in that stadium that night.
It was terrible. That was a terrible. Were you there?
Yeah, I was there.
Oh man, I mean, it was like, good God, you're
watching Bevo try to take out those
people.
Like, is it Bevo? Is that the name of the steer or whatever?
I don't know.
I don't know. The watching like pregame when it tried to like kill people, that was they like took Uga over there and like
didn't it attack Uga or something?
Yeah, like I saw that. I was like, holy shit, this is gonna be a shit show from the start.
I can't believe that someone was able to attack Uga and walk out of that stadium alive. Those Georgia fans are such freak fans. Like, you don't touch Uga. Uga touches you.
So, second thing, Coastal Carolina's loss has my favorite logo created, the Coastal Carolina asterisk leaders. Love it. This is the best logo ever.
Well, I'm sure you'll probably see Lafayette fans selling that T-shirt because that's actually why I kept the Lafayette game, the bowl game. Let's talk about because I don't care about the game whatsoever at all. They beat the Roadrunners, blah blah blah. Barely beat the Roadrunners. The Lafayette fan base, oh my God, you can tell these are the same fans of the New Orleans Saints. It's the exact same thing that happened when the Saints had that no-call pass interference in the NFC Championship game a few years ago. The fan base will not accept the fact that they just lost that game or did not make it into that championship game due to COVID and everything. Twitter is just ridiculous. Some picture came out of Coastal with the championship trophy, the Sun Belt trophy, and like there are 3 questions that must be answered. When did the trophy arrive in Conway? When were these photos taken? And why was the defensive line allowed to be in? Or some crap like that.
Are we sure these aren't paid actors?
This year, who knows? It's Russia. Russia is doing it. It's
Saints fans, or wait, it would be the other way around, right?
It's not the Raging Cajuns. It's the Russian Cajuns.
It's the Saints fans.
My grandpa actually decided from this kickoff for our game that he was going to troll me and root for Western Kentucky the whole time in a very obnoxious way. And
no, that is some love right there. That is some grandfather, grandson love right there. I'm going to take something that you're incredibly passionate about and just talk shit about it for the next 3.5 hours.
He did, but it did cause a lot of like very fun conversations between like, and then I got to shit talk a lot. But he kept on basically talking about how much we pay the refs because the refs kept on making calls in our favor. He's like, how do you have, one penalty to our 10, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, if you were good at football, maybe you wouldn't commit 10 penalties to R1, blah, So we were like just shit talking to each other the whole game.
And the best part about that is that you celebrate your family's Christmas the day after Christmas. So this was literally your Christmas day.
This was after Christmas dinner, yeah.
Just talking shit back and forth, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So Lafayette fans, not disappointing, being hilarious on Twitter and social media about how petty they are that Coastal refused.
Also, App State fans are throwing shade too, if you notice. I don't know if you saw that on Twitter, David, but they're throwing a lot of shade at Coastal Carolina for losing.
Were they saying that we should have been there instead of Coastal?
Well, I think what they're kind of really doing is kind of thumping their chest because as of right now, since they've instituted the championship game in the Sun Belt, App's the only team to have played in and won the championship. So they get to kind of keep that little asterisk of themselves about how the only conference champion since the championship game is App State.
There is no co-champion. There's no co-champion. That's silly. We did not do a championship. That's the rules, and so there's no champion this year.
No, to that extent, I agree what you're saying. That being said, the difference is Coastal did play Lafayette that season in regular season. Like if that had been the one game, because you don't play every game in the opposite division, had they not played that game, then you make that argument very cleanly.
But that's not the rules. The rules that we all agreed to was there was going to be a conference championship game, and then they didn't play it.
I get it. I can get Coastal stumping their chest. And what is it? The college football committee is a playoff committee is treating Coastal as the champion. They're ignoring that the coach.
Well, they ignore us mostly anyway, so
that's true. But I do think that with all that crap with the trophy there in Conway and all the pictures taken, I don't want to say anything positive about Lafayette whatsoever at all. But I mean, if the conference says you're co-champion, they need to have a trophy there in their display case as well. So,
or at least give them a cardboard cutout to hold up. Right?
Or maybe they get a picture of all the Coastal guys with their trophy, and they can hang that in their case. Like, this is yours too. So
they should just bring it to App State since they're the champions.
I mean, I think deservedly so.
They're the reigning champions, right?
They are the championship game champions.
I think there's a tweet about that, and I think there's a tweet about welcome to the 11-win club, even though App State technically has had more wins winning the championship and their bowl game in the past years. So a little bit of shade thrown there. I mean, not taking away anything Coastal's done. It's been fantastic for them this year. I would love to be in their position to win all those games, but
but then they lost against Liberty. So I'm really happy that we just played our season and we're us.
Yeah, it was a little salt. They didn't come out ready for that game. Sorry.
Womp womp. And also update the color of your field. It looks stupid on TV.
It's dumb. Yeah, it's really bad.
It is. Other than that, I'm kind of done with football. We've got some basketball stuff to talk about. You guys done with football? I feel I need to cleanse myself from talking about Coastal and Lafayette so much.
There's a lot of Lala and Coastal talk.
Yeah, we got off Georgia State pretty early and started talking about Sun Belt stuff. David.
Well, I wanted, when I was putting the notes together, I kind of wanted to just finish football as a subject before moving into basketball as a subject, because it is the end of the football season for us now. And I did put some things in there about next season, but we can talk about that last call or later in the year. Next year. And we are in the beginning of the, second phase of the basketball season. We finished the out-of-conference schedule. We're starting up with the Sun Belt Conference. schedule this Friday, and I had been talking to some Coastal people about coming on to preview the 2 games we have Friday and Saturday against them. But, I think they're a little salty about their sports program after this past week. So no hear back from them for this week, but we do play them again in 2 weeks. So we can maybe get them on to talk about the return trip to Atlanta for the Chanticleers. So yeah, none of them on here this week.
So do we need to take it to them for beating the crap out of us in football? So we beat the crap out of them in basketball? I know it's not equivalent, but I mean, you gotta do something.
Well, yeah, obviously that's a game. These 2 games are games we want to win. You don't want to start your out of conference schedule by losing, especially a pair of games. But I want to come in there because this is actually one of the better teams according to all the metrics in the conference this year. They're right up there with us, and I think actually in the East, App State. So that's what I want to talk about first was looking at the way the conference is kind of broken down this year and where we stand. But before I do that, there's one thing I forgot to bring back up this season. We talked about every game last season, which Georgia State was tracking the most worthless stat whatsoever at all. And that was a consecutive number of games of having a 3-pointer since I want to say the 80s. Who knows, whatever it was. So I forgot to look at it. I did check back at our game recaps. We have not tracked that stat at all this season. The last time we tracked that stat was the last game last season. We have stopped tracking it. I'm going to give credit to us for making Georgia State update. I'm sure that's a computer thing. They probably just have a little macro in there that tracks certain things.
Looks for 3-pointers, yeah.
Right. But they have replaced it. They've replaced it with a new stat that now updates every single game. But this is actually a legit stat. This is a good one. We have billboards to the fact of this stat. Now what they're doing is tracking since rejoining the Sun Belt Conference, the number of wins we have being the highest out of all Georgia Division I programs.
Oh, yeah. All right.
That's a legit stat that I'm all on board for.
Probably more legit than 3-point shots every game.
Yeah, if we get to a point where we miss a 3-point shot, we are definitely the team winning the most games in Georgia. So I just want to kind of give that out there. But it's going to be tough, I think, this season because the season being weird. Once again, it looks like the better basketball programs, just like the better football programs, are in the East versus the West. It's very one-sided loaded on that side. So going into the conference play, all but one East Division team has 6 wins. That one team being not having it is Troy, and Troy always gives us problems. So might as well have 6 wins and say all these teams are pretty good. That being said, none of their teams they've beaten are really. I think it's everybody's schedule, but it wasn't a very impressive. So everyone played Carver Bible College, basically. Pretty much. Carver, I think actually Troy played Carver yesterday.
I was just kidding.
No, I'm serious. Every Georgia team, I think, did. But I don't know. If you look at on the west side, though, in their out-of-conference schedule, there's one team with 6 wins, Lafayette, of course. So it's the path to winning the division is going to be very difficult on the east side of things. In my opinion, I don't know.
I think conditioning is going to be huge, right? You got these back-to-back games, Friday and Saturday, Friday and Saturday, Friday and Saturday. So, I mean, hopefully the team's ready to go, has been conditioned, can handle turning around, not even 24 hours later and playing another game.
I really want to say these first 2 weeks playing at Coastal and at Troy is going to kind of set a precedence for what Georgia State's going to look like going into the season. But I think it's 2 difficult road trips to start off before getting back into the sports arena. So I don't want to say that because if we lose, 2 or more of those games, I don't want it to be a bad thing. But if we win out these first 2 road games, these 2 road series, other than just stupid mistakes, we should be in a position to win out and go perfect in the Sun Belt in the regular season.
I mean, ESPN's matchup predictor just gives us the edge over both teams, even more so with Troy, which we all know Troy is not a sure thing. Even if it's a 99.9, we probably somehow potentially lose on the last second Troy 3 or some crazy shot or a foul as they inbound or something stupid would happen and Troy would win. So, I mean, yeah, going 4-0 in this away series to open the season would be huge for us to start as we come back home.
Especially considering that when we do come back home, we're playing one of those teams again. We're playing Coastal all over
again. Chickens. Yep.
Yeah, the Sea Chickens. So, but talking about what ESPN's predictors, Tim, and not to get all statsy and whatever, excuse me, but they have their BPI, their big mathy thing that looks at.
Not to get statsy, but here's some stats.
No, I'm not going to give you a stat. I'm going to give you some rankings. So
are these mid-major rankings?
Whoa! Too soon.
No. Actually, perfect lead into this. So, Georgia State did get bumped up in the mid-major rankings. The mid-major top 25 got moved up from 4th to 3rd place after not playing a game in the past week. Awesome.
So we're like 83 instead of 84.
All right. Yeah. Oops, crap! I just lost my spot here. Hit the space button. You're not. You said that in our own group me Patreon chat about that. And I said something more along the lines of 46, 47, 47, 48.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
All right. So actually in ESPN's BPI, we actually are 71st in all of college basketball.
Yeah.
But on top of that,
I'm super proud.
If you look at their predictor for making the NCAA tournament, we're 52nd, tied for 52nd. So, yeah.
What? How are we not 99% going to the tournament? I don't understand.
As far as number of teams making it into the tournament,
but we're basically most likely to go from the Sun Belt, right?
Well, all the 16 seeds are the last, the last 4 teams, and then
I see
15 seeds, whatever, stuff like that. So yeah, mid-major rankings. I know they're there to give teams a good feeling about being in these smaller programs and everything. But yeah, being 3 in mid-major is cool. Shut up, Ryan. You're wrong.
What I loved was the conversation about Gonzaga and how the first ranked mid-major team should just not be a mid-major anymore. And I said, oh, so you're admitting that that this is the least bad whatever. I just come on, man.
It's not the number 1 ranked team. I didn't reply, but it's not the number 1 ranked team. I just don't see Gonzaga as a mid-major ever anymore.
They are the number 1 mid-major in the rankings.
But mid-major is based off of conference. It's not based off of program.
Right. Their program is not a mid-major makeup.
They're a mid-major.
They're light years ahead of their conference.
We're not a Sun Belt makeup team, but we are in the Sun Belt. Gonzaga is not a mid-major makeup program, but they're in a mid-major conference. So your little nitpicking there, Ryan, is not going to win over here.
Okay.
Now, Ryan, I will give you something you'll love. So we're top 3 on College Insider, but we're not ranked in the top 25 for mid-major madness. Go figure that one out.
I don't care. I don't care about mid-major rankings, guys. I think that's a garbage way to call us anything. And what it does is it just says that we're not good enough to get into any of the regular rankings, into any of the regular discussions. So you actually have to segregate us out into this well, here's this group of people who aren't as good. Well, and they're ranked 3 out of them.
Here's where you're wrong, Ryan. Oh, episode title. Here's where you're wrong.
Here's where you're wrong, Ryan.
Here's where you're wrong, Ryan. There's a difference between college basketball and college football. That difference being college football takes
the shape of the ball.
and that's about it. The
number of fans.
There's more than one forward pass in a play in college football. No, the difference being in the ranking system of college football is they're taking the top 4 teams, and those teams get to play. You got no idea the quality of the other teams below there. In college basketball, you're taking 64, 60. I don't even understand that play-in game thing. They've taken 64 teams. So when you're looking at the top 25, you're like, all right, these top 25 are probably making the tournament, all of them. All of them making it. All right. Well, who are the next best teams I'm not aware of that will actually be in this showcase I'll be watching in March? So the mid-major top 25 is a chance to kind of break it out and see these are the other teams that, while not top 25 overall, at their level are competing as best as possible. So it kind of gives you a better idea, a better look at the teams they're going to be playing in March Madness, which everybody loves watching those Cinderella teams.
Yeah, no, I mean they do like watching them, but I don't think anyone's paying attention to the mid-major rankings except for the fans of those mid-majors. Same as football.
If college football put 64 teams into a playoff system, which would absolutely never happen,
no.
If they did that, then I would completely understand a mid-major ranking in college football, but they're not. So I don't want to have a G5 ranking. I would
understand a top 64 ranking.
Oh, top 64. Yeah, but no one pays attention. All right, yeah. The thing about the ESPN BPI I wanted to bring up without getting all too weird about this stuff is Georgia State comes in first place in the Sun Belt at 71st across all of college basketball teams. The number 2 in Sun Belt is actually App State, which surprised me. You'd think it'd be Little Rock or something like that.
Right.
So we're 71 overall. They're 163. That drop off between the first place Sun Belt ranked team, us.
That's a cavern.
That's a lot more interesting, yeah.
In App State, number 2 is 163. And the next 4 teams are the high 100s, and then the rest of the half drop off in the 200s, the last 2 teams in the 300s. But yeah, so as of right now, based off of these 7 games we've performed in, ESPN's little number calculator guy really sees Georgia State as, a much, much better team than the rest of the conference.
Little number calculator guy.
I literally imagine there being some guy, like there's one guy out of ESPN $1 billion they put into this. I just see one guy going back there with his phone going, enter in. He got that many assists. He got that many sacks.
And he's and they nobody ever invites him out after work because he's that guy that goes, actually.
It's kind of funny because you posted something about real-time RPI, David, in the chat thread, and we've moved obviously down as we played games, and we're 9th, and App State's the next team at 104. So obviously, they're using a little bit similar stat pile, right?
Now, Tim, I may be wrong here, but they may be using the same data and just looking at it slightly differently.
And then adjusting for power conferences.
Exactly. And based off where those the people that are doing their calculations went to school. That was the thing back in the BCS. The BCS had a dozen different computers that were being fed into one big computer. And I remember this, my friends at Virginia Tech were they would follow the Virginia Tech computer. And Virginia Tech always was top 5. Always top 5 in that computer put out, but then would end up being 12th or 16th in the nation.
So the Sun Belt's -50. That's all they do. They just plus 50 to every team in the Sun Belt.
If they actually gave us the credit we deserve, we'd probably be a top 10 team in the legit rankings, so that Ryan wouldn't be busy looking at his phone the entire time while we're talking.
Well, you guys are boring.
Arkansas State stands out to me, though. I don't know what they are in FPI. I'm assuming they're last, right? Since it follows the real time.
Oh, no. This is the Sun Belt. So who's going to be last? There's a rule. Monroe is last.
There's a rule.
At 332 overall, Arkansas State is my Memphis accent came out. My Arkansas State comes in at 304, 11th in the nation.
That's shocking. I don't know.
It was a little strange to me because the top 4 in the Sun Belt, GSU, App State, Coastal, and Little Rock. So the top 3 are all East Division teams. But it'll be interesting to see how things play out and how these numbers change as we get through these first couple of weeks of games. But,
where's the school down south? You haven't mentioned them, but usually they're
1 or 2 above or below us.
Yeah, no, they actually have been pretty decent at basketball since joining the Sun Belt, where it was never really a strength for them, but they've come in and competed usually.
Yeah, I didn't bring it up because I don't like talking about them as much as I do in general, but yeah, they came in 8th in the entire conference. And
they've lost quite a bit of talent this year, from last year to this year, so it'll be interesting to see how they reload.
And then
I only know Tukey, right?
Gone. Yep.
Gone. Yeah, because we were supposed to get him. He declined our offer for them. And I
like that. Yeah.
Never forget.
Ask Ben. I don't know.
They come in 8th in the conference overall, but that does not matter this season because all regular conference games are being played interdivision. So they come in 8th overall. They come in 5th out of the East. So they're right there, and they're just out of Troy. So, but that was kind of my point about it was you're ranking Southern and Troy as the 2 worst teams in our division. Those are the 2 teams that give us the most trouble in general. That means we've got a hard schedule the entire way. So,
yeah,
we'll see. Last bracketology has us playing as ESPN bracketology, blah, 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 has us playing a 13 seed versus Michigan in Indianapolis. I would want to go to that game.
I want to be there. Absolutely.
Indianapolis, man, that is a terrible city.
Oh, no. Indianapolis is great.
What?
It's great for drinking.
Yeah.
Everywhere is great for drinking. Just go to your liquor store, dude.
No,
food everywhere. Everywhere. All the time.
Indy's cool. Dayton, Ohio is not as cool. So when I had to go to a wedding in Dayton, Ohio, we decided to actually spend the weekend in Indianapolis and drive to Dayton for the wedding and then drive back like the next morning and hang out another day there. And we stayed right outside of Lucas Oil Stadium, and it's got a cool bar set up right outside the stadium. We had a blast. This was on a Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening, and we had a blast. It was a party scene. Who knows what it's going to be like next year?
Yeah.
But it was to the point where we're like, all right, the next time the Falcons play the Colts in Indy, we are going to that game. And I think it lined up, coincidentally enough, when Kim was pregnant with our second kid. So, like, well,
next time.
I was like, can I go? And she's like, no, not with that.
Well, I'll admit, my time in Indianapolis was not actually spent in the city. It was out in Plainsville, and it was just terrible out there.
Yeah, a place called Plainsville sounds boring.
I have never seen a more flat part of the earth in my life. I mean, it is crazy.
You should see my high school girlfriend.
What?
Yeah, what was that?
Huh?
We'll save that one for last call.
Anyway.
All right. We're getting here to close to an hour. Talk a little bit about Coastal game. Not a lot. They are the only other 6-1 team heading into the conference play along with us.
They play anybody good?
No.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see how this works out playing 2 games back-to-back days.
What do you think helped our ranking the most? Do you think, I mean, is it like Tech and Mercer, right?
Mercer.
Tech and Mercer, right?
Tech and Mercer have got to be it, exactly.
The 2 best games we played? I mean, the 2 best teams we played.
And then was it Tech beating, was it Kentucky? But Kentucky, like, is garbage now, so it doesn't count.
I mean, garbage in terms of Kentucky, right?
Yeah, they have 1 win so far, yeah.
Oh, shoot.
Right. Played Mercer twice. Mercer's high up there, too. So we played them twice. They played us twice. We're benefiting from playing each other twice already in 1 season.
Right.
Tech, I think, is in the mid 130s RPI wise, so helped us. But you know, everything from here is kind of downhill ish.
Yeah, I mean it always is because Sunbelt's just a 1-bid league. I mean, we're not that good at basketball.
Well, we returned a lot of great players. We've started a lot of new great players. I say a lot, but like Sosame is going to basically be
the bomb.
He's going to be the MVP of our championship season.
Wait, there's a player you guys like?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we talked about him every week that there's been.
Wait, what?
Every week since basketball started, we've talked about the same guy.
He like tall or something?
He is tall.
He is tall. And he gets rebounds. Those are like foreign to us.
Wait, what's a rebound?
Exactly.
Back when I
know. If you watch Georgia State basketball, you wouldn't know in the past.
If you watched Georgia State basketball during the Ron Hunter era exclusively, you would not know what a rebound is.
To be fair, you wouldn't know what an offensive rebound is.
Right.
True.
Right.
That was where the hole was. Yeah.
Yeah. So no, this will be good. I'll be watching the game. And thank God they're doing, even though it's New Year's Day, a day that almost everyone has off from work. Thank God they're doing the game at 6:00, so you've got a chance to recover from any hangover you may have.
Start drinking,
and yeah, get your buzz restarted again. Order some wings to be delivered for that game, 6:00 game. I'm looking forward to that. I'm also looking forward to convincing my wife to allow me to go tailgate in the G deck for a Friday evening and a Saturday afternoon game once we have our games back in Atlanta.
Good luck.
Yeah, that first weekend's actually her birthday weekend, so that's not happening at all.
Good luck. Good luck. You should just ditch her.
Yeah, and
you should make the G-Deck part of
Is
her
she caught up?
birthday.
Is she caught up yet? You gonna listen to this?
No, she's not caught up, but she did message me that she was out, I think, dropping the kids off or something. And she messaged me. She's like, I'm calling you because you said that I would never hear this. And it's when I went down to the Mexican restaurant here and hung out for a few hours instead of going right back home. She's like, you said I'd never hear it, but I did. So yeah, she's keeping tabs.
You're like, you don't even know what I was talking about. That was a long time ago. Also,
Yeah.
tacos are delicious.
Like I don't know what I was talking about. I killed them brain cells. So yeah, I didn't pay attention to what the other Sunbelt games are, but all Sunbelt starts on Friday. Every team's playing, and it's going to go that way for the next what is it, like 8 weeks, something like that. And it looks like women are doing the same thing, rolling right into other sports. Women, I guess they're traveling together, so the women play up at Coastal this week as well, and it looks like they go back and forth the exact same way, cutting down on costs, cutting down on exposure and everything. So
it's gonna be a fast and furious season, man, all the way through the end of February, just like nonstop.
I'm curious, when they announced they were going to do this and then every team makes the playoffs in Pensacola, I was kind of like, yeah, everybody plays. Now I'm kind of like, I think maybe you take the top 2 teams, but they are doing home, like, university games for the first round or something. Round or
Are
two.
they?
I think so. It'll be
I haven't read up on it this year. I just know we're all going.
we all made the playoffs. We all get postseason games.
Right.
We all get postseason game. So, that's all I got, guys. Oh, I got a few things.
Last call. Let's go.
I got a few things for last call. I've got looking ahead towards the football next season, some notes on that. I have some notes on the GHSCA that happened at the stadium this week. It's happening right now. And Boise's talk about trying to take our spot inside of the American.
Bastards.
I like the tease. I like the tease.
Yeah, I heard that about you. That's what I. All right. Well, thanks everybody for listening. Thanks for those that tune in and watch on YouTube and Facebook. We're heading over to do our last call. We'll have a few more drinks, talk about a few more things Georgia State related. It'll be free to everybody on Friday morning as a podcast only, available to all of our Patreon members immediately. As soon as I post it, I kind of sometimes get drunk and don't post it until Wednesday morning. So, but yeah, it should be out there. Thanks everybody for watching and listening. Say goodbye, guys.
Bye, y'all.
Peace.
Goodbye, guys.